Hey everyone, welcome back to Corporate Decoder. Today we're diving into Dick's Sporting Goods' latest proxy statement. Think of it as the company's report card, but instead of grades we get a look at their plans, performance and all the juicy details that shareholders need to know. Let's see if they're playing ball or striking out. That before we jump in, if you enjoy getting the real scoop from corporate filings, be sure to subscribe. And hey, we have a Discord community, the link is in the description below. Come join the conversation. Let's cut to the chase, shall we? Dix is bragging about sustained record sales performance. Okay, so what does that really mean? Bet sales reached one timed $44 billion, a 3.5% jump, not bad, but remember, 2023 had an extra week. EBT, or earnings before taxes, also look impressive, up over 15% compared to the prior year if you want to measure against what they'd previously reported using standard accounting rules, or 8.3%. If you look at adjusted accounting rules, which while weird do paint a better picture overall, so don't sleep on it. Next up, EPS, or earnings per diluted share. That's how much profit each share of stock gets. Here it's $14.05, a sweet 15.4% increase. So far so good. Also, don't miss their own disclaimer that these great numbers are only in comparison with their own numbers. They claim to be getting nearly 9% market share. Are boasting about $222 billion in share repurchases and dividends, with 2025 expected to be the 11th consecutive year of dividend increases, about a 10% increase. However, keep in mind the payout depends on future earnings, so the board can always change that. Still, these are nice numbers, and it's good to see the company giving back to its investors. They claim to be getting nearly 9% market share. Alright, let's switch gears and talk about who's running the show. Every year, stockholders get to vote on who sits on the board of directors. This year, there are 12 nominees. The board is recommending you vote for all of them. Who are these people? Well, the board's got a mix of genders, ethnicities, ages, and experience. It's not all old white dudes in suits anymore, which is good to see because it shows they are committed to diverse perspectives. Let's zoom in on a few. Mark Barrenechea, for example, brings tech expertise as the CEO of OpenText. Emmanuel Quirico knows retail inside and out from his days at PVH Corp, parent company of Calvin Klein and Tommy Hilfiger. Robert Eddy is the chairman, president, and CEO of BJ's Wholesale Club. This is a big one. The board claims that all non-employee directors are independent. Now, independence is important because it's supposed to ensure that these folks are looking out for your best interests as shareholders, not just the interests of management. Next up is the say on pay vote. This is where you, as a stockholder, get to give a thumbs up or thumbs down to how the top executives are being paid. The board, of course, recommends you vote for it. Their argument, it's all tied to performance, guys. They show that a considerable portion of the compensation payable to our NEOs is incentive-based, whatever that means. So how's the pie sliced? The president and CEO isn't much different, while the other NEOs are more spread out between short and long-term incentives. But is the amount they were paid justified? We should ask about that in the comments section. Okay, so they say it's tied to performance. Let's peek inside the black box and see exactly how they determine if their own high standards are met with real dollars. I won't bore you to death with the numbers, but adjusted non-GAAP EBT achieved resulted in a payout. The goal set was between $1.57 billion 1630 and 1.73 B. T achieved target for Edward stack and payouts at $60.30 8% of target for Edward stack, and payouts at 63.8% of target for Edward stack, and payouts at 63.8% of target for Edward stack, and payouts at 163.8% of target for Edward stack, and payouts at 1 high standard 3B. The amount of annual equity awarded to each NEO takes into consideration company and individual performance. A NEO's ability to grow and add long-term value, benchmarking information provided by management's compensation consultant, as well as other factors such as share usage and stockholder dilution. The compensation committee can grant annual equity awards to each NEO between 0% to 300 per SOF, a trend alley dependent on the factors mentioned above. Alright, let's talk about director compensation. In 2024, each non-employee director got a $100,000 annual cash retainer, plus 180 T for each of them. But if they don't do their job, they are also on the hook like everyone else, so not bad high. It is around 300K for each of them, but if they don't do their job, they are also on the hook like everyone else, so not bad. Quickly, there's also a vote to approve Deloitte and Touchel E as the company's independent accounting firm. The board is, of course, recommending you vote for it. Any potential conflicts of interest, they have a policy for that. The audit committee reviews any transaction over $120,000 where a related person has a stake to ensure everything is above board. Here is where things get fun. The company's been paying one of their own board members, specifically Edward Stack, through his companies. They paid him almost $8 million in rent and maintenance for aircraft. Plus, his company also benefits from aircraft shared services arrangement and fuel farm arrangement, which adds over $1.4 million. So this guy is profiting quite nicely from being a board member. They also have to state about his son being a VP and being paid fairly, and another example of a $20K monthly lease paid to the family estate. They say there is nothing wrong you can judge about the appearance. Lastly, some shareholders proposed an evaluation report on affirmative action programs. The board is against it. The board argues that it has equal opportunity employment and it is already compliant with all regulations. And we should also consider this when thinking about whether they are being honest. Now let's zoom out and look at the big picture. Dix is definitely making money with growing sales and a good return for shareholders. The executive compensation seems steep, especially given the family relation, but maybe it's worth it to keep the company going. Alright, that's your summary of Dick's Sporting Goods' latest proxy statement. What's your take? Is this a company you'd invest in, or do the risks outweigh the rewards? Drop your thoughts in the comments below. Also, if this breakdown was helpful, a like and a subscription really help us out. And don't forget to join our Discord community. The link is in the description. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.